Meanwhile, nobody's buying my morbidly obese Morton books. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 260.
It is
of
260.
The podcast.
We just went through and counted every single one.
Coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA studio, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for listening on your podcatcher of choice, whether that be Apple or Google or Pocket Cast or Stitcher or wherever you get your fine podcasts. You can find us there. If you can rate and review us, that would be wonderful. Or just tell a friend. Listen to the O The Anthem podcast on a piece of paper, put it around a brick, and throw it at somebody's face.
Yeah. Also, maybe you want to listen to us on Anchor, which is a new podcast app.
Well, that's not official yet. That's
is that a thing? But
that's a little tease for something.
They can't listen to
happening.
They can't listen to us. They can listen to you on Anchor.
Yeah. Yes, they can listen to me on Anchor.
That's the review podcast.
Yeah, the Corey Baker filmmaker movie review podcast.
Go. Yes. But of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, you're watching live right now at facebook.com/O The Anthem. And if you want even more O The Anthem, make sure you check out youtube.com/O The Anthem, where you can find all the videos. And if you still haven't gotten your fill, OTheAnthem.com is where you can find everything.
So we spent some time before the podcast started because we were trying to figure out exactly, because we've been under the assumption that this is 5 years, this episode right here.
Well, no. The assumption is that this is episode 260.
Yeah.
Which, by my math, dividing 260 by 52, you get 5. However, if we check the calendar, as it were, this would be the 259th episode that should have happened, which means that somewhere in the last 5 years,
there's no way that we looked through every single one. I honestly think it has something to do with starting at 1 and not starting at 0 that is causing this problem. But anyway,
that would make sense if next week wasn't 260.
But we looked it up.
Yes.
The first episode of the podcast was on April 14th, 2015.
April 15th,
2015.
Yes.
So that will be the official.
April 15th, 2014.
2014, yes.
Yes.
Will be the official 5-year show, and we have lots of fancy things planned for that occasion.
Yeah, lots of stuff coming. And I would say this, that the one thing I thought was that you would actually be really excited about the fact that maybe this would be episode 259A instead of episode 260. So I'm actually a little upset about that.
Well, I think that if I double check and make sure that all the podcast numbers add up.
Right. Well, but you've not even started negotiations. And I know that you're in IATSE and they really like to start late and the WGA and everything, but to not even bring it up, and we're heading into week 260 at this point, I don't even know how to handle any of that. So
what negotiations?
The contract negotiations.
What contract negotiations?
So when we started this thing, we discussed the 5 years, and I signed the contract, and I said I was in for 5 years.
What contract?
I have the contract in my safe, my little fireproof box. It says,
I didn't sign a contract.
Oh no, you didn't have to. I signed the contract.
We're in this 50-50. What do you need to sign a contract for?
Well, because, I wanted to make sure that after 5 years we were in a position where I really wanted to be taken care of. And I just, I just felt like maybe if you were as invested in this as I was, that we would have had started the negotiation by now.
I don't even have a contract. How can I possibly be invested?
Well, because you're the one who's doing all this thing. It's your thing. I'm just the talent. I just show up and I do the show, and thus the talent. The talent needs the contract, not the producer, as it were.
I don't know if I would call what you do talent.
Well, I mean, it's episode 260. So starting next week, we're not gonna have to worry about that anymore. So let's just get through.
What do you mean?
Let's get through this episode. Listen, like the WGA, I don't work without a contract. So either we got 1 week to figure this thing out. No, it lasts for 260 weeks, and this is episode. Let me count. 260. So
are you sure it's not 259?
I mean, it might be 259A. That's why I thought you would be excited. But let's just move through this, and then we can politely, and quietly close up 18 years of friendship.
What do you want?
And just close this podcast down.
What do you want?
So, it's
what's on your demands?
I just feel like if anyone has brought anything to this show, it's been me and all of the things that I bring. So I really feel like after expenses, like an 80-20 split would be more appropriate.
80-20?
I mean, if we're going to consider who brings 80%.
Am I getting the 80?
No, absolutely not. Who brings 80% of the funny, who brings 80% of the knowledge, 80% of the looks, honestly. I mean,
what about 100% of the staying up till 2 a.m. and making podcast episodes for YouTube?
That's the producer's job. That's why the producer's in it. The talent, though, is why
the show would be nothing without me.
You're right. The show wouldn't be up. Well, no, that's not true. The show wouldn't be up without you. The show wouldn't be anything without me.
Ugh.
So I just feel like let's just wrap this up, and we could put a big bow on 18 years.
No, why don't we just continue? Why don't we have a verbal agreement that you sign on for 5 more years?
I don't know what kind of household you've been brought up in, but
a man is only as good as his word.
Man's good as his paperwork. That's how I deal. So
I mean, we'll come to an agreement here in principle, a verbal agreement in principle, and then we'll get through the official contract.
I'm
a little
just
bit later.
trying to get through this episode and get to the other side. I don't want to start my walkout early. I want to get through this episode. We have such a great show going. I mean, we're going to talk a little sports ball today. We're going to talk about music, which is always entertaining, some politics, some entertainment news. There's a lot of good things.
You
coming
wouldn't
this
walk
week.
out.
Listen, like I said, I stand with labor. Labor is strong. I am not going to be browbeaten. I know what I am worth, and I'm not going to take less than that. But I agreed to stay for 260. This is 260, so here I am. I'm staying for what we have. So
it's ridiculous. You're just gonna fucking walk on us?
I am gonna. I mean, at the end of the show, of course, I'm not gonna walk.
Well, what's
now.
the point of even sticking around for the end of the show if you're not gonna be here for the whole?
That's a good point. All right, guys. So it's been real. Wait a
minute.
I appreciate it.
Hold on a second here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Here, I'm just going to move this. Let's go this. And guys, it's been real. Enjoy the Corey Baker podcast.
I am not prepared for this moment. Rob is literally walking out the door. Roberto, come here. Hold on a second. I got to figure out how to make this 2. God, I don't know any of this. Okay. Come here.
Okay.
You're in the podcast now. You're the new co-host. Sit down.
Okay.
Anybody who doesn't know, this is Roberto. He's going to be the new host of the podcast. He's the new Rob, better, new, improved Rob. Roberto, do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself so they can start to love you and they can forget about all the bad years that happened before this?
Ok. Pues mi nombre es Roberto. Soy mexicano. Soy de Sonora, México. Crecí allá. Y luego me vine a vivir para Arizona a hacer la universidad. Y luego pues me vine a vivir para acá con ustedes.
I don't understand. Can you do it in English, please?
Es que me sale mejor en español. Pero sí me entiende. No, sí me entiende la gente. No, está bien.
No, but this is an English-speaking podcast. You can't just speak Spanish this whole time and expect people to understand what you're saying.
Pero mira que es mejor para las internacionales. Así tenemos más gente
I
de
don't
México.
understand a single fucking word that you said. You said 2 at some point, so I know you
Por eso,
said
tú,
you.
Tú, mira, tú, yo lo hago.
Why are you talking about me?
Sí. Yes.
Hold on a second. Jesus Christ.
¿A dónde vas?
All right, Rob, we're good for 80-20.
¿Qué pasó?
All right. Bye. See ya.
¿Cómo? ¿Ya? ¿Se acabó?
Adios.
¿Qué pasó?
Thanks. No, it's okay. It's okay.
¿Ya?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Ok.
Is good?
Gracias.
Well, there we go.
Man, I fucking hate losing negotiations.
Well, it's I saw what you had to deal with. The talent pool, she runs shallow in this part. So
It's really hard to have an English-speaking podcast with somebody who's not speaking English.
I know.
Well, I guess thanks to Roberto for coming on for a few minutes and helping right the ship a little bit. And by right the ship, I mean
I agree
right
with
into
you.
the iceberg.
I agree with you 100%. He righted the ship exactly where it should be, back in my direction at an 80-20 split.
Ugh.
Fantastic.
All
Fantastic.
right. I will make sure that by the end of business today, I give you 80% of the $0 we've made. In this hold on, put up both hands. You ready for it? Here's all the. There we go.
All right.
All right.
You got
Look
these
at him.
big
He's
spendings.
rich now.
Okay, doke. Okay,
It's like he's got a yob and everything.
So yeah, a yob. So by the way, no one amused in everybody's welcoming Roberto on the podcast. Just
Maybe I made a mistake.
we got people welcoming Roberto. Laura's over here saying the ratings are about to go up. I hate all of you. You're the worst. You're the worst kind of people.
April Fools.
Oh, yeah. So, as you guys may or may not know, today is, of course, April the 1st. And you should never believe anything you see today. Although,
Trust no one.
Most of my office, there was a story that went around about Google buying Spotify. And the office was in an uproar. And they were like, what does it even mean? And I'm like, waiting for it to simmer. And then finally somebody was like, you don't think this is an April Fool's joke, do you? And I'm like, no, of course not. Why would it be?
You know what I hate about this goddamn world we live in right now? I woke up this morning and I was like looking through like what's trending on Twitter and stuff like that, and I saw Jim Carrey is getting into a fight with Mussolini's granddaughter.
And
I'm
is
just
that
like,
real?
all right, this is a great April
No.
Fool's story. And then I'm looking and I'm reading her tweets. I didn't even know she was on fucking Twitter. I'm reading her tweets and she's just like, hey, draw this picture. And it's like a fucking nuclear warhead and
Yes.
stuff like that. I'm like, holy shit.
Getting intense.
This is literally happening right now.
And by the way, just to continue to respond, Leah asks you or says that she'll bring you $1 or she'll pay you $1 to bring Roberto.
Roberto, you got a paying gig.
It's a job or maybe a yob. I don't know. It might be a soft J. I can't tell. But anyway, so we do have a really fun pack show, so we'll try to get through the rest of it. But yes, happy April Fools, everybody.
Yes.
This is the first part of it, not a joke. We are not sure what episode this is. It's statistically 260, but the calendar says 259. I don't know what to tell you.
260. We went through the whole.
Okay, I'm just saying 100 episodes not available on podcast, and there might be a mistake. Maybe there's 99 not available on podcast. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, diving in, let's of course start out where we start out so many weeks of the past 260 with a little sports ball. All right. So only really one story in the sports world for us, and that is that baseball has started. Opening day was Thursday, and the Orioles started out on the road as they deserved to do.
They lost game one.
Well, no, they started out on the road, just a road series.
Yeah.
As they deserve to do after last year. Like, don't come off your...
I think the Orioles should always start at home.
don't come off your 47
The
win
Reds
season.
never open on the road, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how'd they get that?
They just never open on the road.
Is Marge shot like is it like some racist key that you get that you don't have to?
No. They were the first professional baseball team.
Yeah, so they
have a big, huge opening day celebration. It's like a big part of the city of Cincinnati.
So does Baltimore, though.
Yeah, I know, but apparently Cincinnati is allowed to just have opening days every single year, but not the Orioles. And this is fucked up. And I think it's because of the Nationals, honestly, because we trade opening days.
Could be. Yes, could be.
Right. But here, hold on a second. Let me go to the standings. We lost game one.
Yes.
And then we've won 3 straight.
Wow.
So we are currently second in the AL East in the way too early to look standing.
Weren't we first for a while?
Well, technically the Rays have played one more game than us. So they're 4-1. We're 3-1.
Okay, tied for first.
Yeah. Technically they have a 50 percentage point advantage over us with their extra win.
I call that tied for first. Listen, it's not like we're not going to win any more games this season.
Well, look, I mean, we would be first place in the AL Central right now.
Yes.
If we were in the American League Central, we'd be in first place. There's only one undefeated team, by the way. You want to take a guess of the only one undefeated team?
San Diego Padres.
Nope.
Are they? What division are they in?
National League East.
Phillies.
Yeah. Phillies started 3-0.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Monster home run.
They seem to enjoy him.
He seems to enjoy Philadelphia. Yeah. To be honest,
I do. I want to get that shirt that he was wearing to opening day. Did you see the one?
No.
It's the same thing from Pulp Fiction, where Samuel L. Jackson and why am I fucking blanking on his name right now?
John
Travolta.
Travolta. Yes.
Are doing that with the guns pointed thing.
Okay,
Like that
yeah.
classic shot.
Yes.
And instead of Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, it's Gritty and the Philly Fanatic. And it's pretty good. I enjoy that shirt. So
Well, Gritty's a hero of mine.
yeah.
He's a comrade in arms, if you will. Member-
Takes out the bourgeoisie.
leader of the proletariat. So I'm down with that. But yes, and as much of Oriole Twitter was a twit, if you will, guys, let's just be honest with each other. This is not a 60-win team. I think that they've done so well because they have been completely underestimated by the teams that they've played thus far. The Yankees, most of all. Got blown out on opening day. And then after that, just like, oh, we can cruise through this. And they seem to be getting every hit and every fielding opportunity that they didn't get during that Kansas City series. Remember when like Kansas City was getting everything?
Yeah.
Like little bloop flies and like diving catches. And that just seems to be going the Orioles' way right now.
Let me say from the person who's watched 3 of these 4 games so
Yes.
far.
And I've seen 0 of them. Just
This team is very plucky. I enjoy their pluck, but there is not a lot of talent there, and that's plainly obvious to see. Mostly like when balls hit like right up the middle, like right up the second base bag,
Yeah.
and the shortstop's like desperately trying to get there, and I'm so used to having people who get that ball.
Yeah.
JJ
Yeah.
Hardy, Manny Machado, like that ball is taken by most people, but
Yeah.
not Richie Martin or
No.
Drew Jackson or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm still
mean-
going to go to Vegas, and I'm still probably going to put some money on the O's. So
I do enjoy that like most of New York Yankees Twitter was super upset about them being beaten by a AAA baseball team.
did I show you the tweet of putting all the Yankees Twitter had posted like, you know, today the Yankees lost to the Orioles, and then they showed a collage of the replies to the theme to New York by Frank Sinatra.
Fantastic. I
And
imagine that
it's
was
just
great.
like, how fucking dare you lose to a AA baseball team?
Yes.
And it's just like, oh, what is Stanton paid for? To screw up late inning rallies? It was classic. It was
The thing,
classic
though, is
Yankees.
the games-
they lose one game, and
Yeah, they're turning on the team already. But like again, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible baseball. It was a little bit of luck and a little bit of pluck, and you find yourself in the win column, and you move on to the next game. But again, guys, Orioles Twitter. Calm down.
Well-
This is not a 100-win team. This is not a 60-win team. We'll be lucky if it's a 50-win team.
what I enjoy about Orioles Twitter so far is that none of them give a fuck. Like
yeah.
everyone is sort of like
Shit talking the Yankees. It's come on, guys. Come on.
Well, I mean, like Justin Fenton in particular
Oh,
has been particularly joyful for me in this
Zero
time.
fucks given.
With like the why not comparisons every
Yeah.
win. It's like,
He's literally engaging with he was engaging with Yankees Twitter and just like but I mean like you guys won today, right? Like you beat the team. You guys aren't losing by 4 runs to the team that's supposed to finish last in AL East, are you? Oh, okay. I'm like
AL East, AL.
AL, yeah. But it's you get to a certain level and you're allowed to do that. I guess Justin's allowed to do that, and he can do whatever.
Listen,
he wants.
we are not going to have a lot of fun for this whole season, so we might as well have the fun while we can. Just enjoy this fleeting moment where we were second in the American League East.
I will say, I did not wear my jersey on Thursday, and surprisingly, some people noticed. They said, "Hey, didn't you wear the jersey the last couple of years?" And I said, "I did." Well, one, we're opening on the road, so I didn't really feel the same
Yeah.
like hype about it. Also, you know, we're getting kind of Cleveland brown bag territory where you don't necessarily like super out there wanting to be.
I was on the balcony for the whole 110 freeway to see me and all my Orioles regalia.
Yeah, that's it's embarrassing for all of us. But yeah, it's just nothing. There's not a lot to be fired up about. There is and there's not, because I bet you 2 of these 9 players are in the Orioles' future. That these are guys who are going to stick around, and when the eventual comeback happens, they will still be on the team.
Yeah, Chris Davis and
I was just factoring in that Chris Davis.
Chris
would get
Davis
some
and Jesus Sucrate
I was
are
gonna say,
the two that are going to stick around when this
Chris
team
Davis is
eventually
going to
wins the
have
World
some kind
Series.
of career-ending knee injury. We're just going to pay him for the next 100 years. Just
It's going to be a player coach that never plays.
Yeah. Just $1 million a year for the next, 87 years. Him and his kids.
It'd be funny if Mike Elias just has a press conference and he comes down and he's just like, by the way, we're going to transition Chris Davis from full-time player to player coach. It's just like, what he's going to coach? Hitting. And everyone laughs. And he's like, yeah, I know. Good joke, right? We'll find a place for him.
What am I going to do? Put him in the lineup every day? No.
Can't do that.
It's fine.
He doesn't have a hit yet.
Really?
Yeah, his 5 strikeouts and no hits.
How much have those 5 strikeouts cost us?
Not really that much.
4 games? How much is he getting paid this year?
Oh, well, what is it, like 19 million this year or something
Let's
like that?
do a little math, shall we? Let's find the calculator. So 19 million this year, right?
I think.
And we're going to divide that by 162 games.
It was 7 years, 175 million, right?
Yeah, but it like escalates every year. But let's
Yeah.
just say
Okay.
19 million. Okay, so that's 0.11 million per game,
Okay.
and we're gonna multiply that by 4, right?
So 110,000 a game.
117,000 a game.
Oh, okay.
117,000 a game. Times 4.
How much I would just like to have $7,000 per game. Just the difference between what I said and what it actually was.
He has made. No, wait, that can't be right. No, he's made $469,000 so far.
Yeah. One of those games he didn't even play.
Not a hit. Not hitting $469,000 worth of at bats. No hits. So yeah, we got that to look forward to for the next 5 years.
Eventually he will get a hit though, and I imagine it's going to be a like Bronx cheer moment where everyone goes like super crazy.
A little blooper into right field.
It's going to be like Delman's Yug double all over again.
But this one's just a little blooper into right field. Barely clears the first baseman. Everybody gets
missed
excited.
check swing that goes down the third base line, and nobody
Run, you bastard, run!
Nobody's over. Third baseman's trying to run from right field to get to it.
All right. So anyway, so there's not a lot to look out for, but yes, we were talking about this the other day. You got a birthday coming up.
Yeah.
Seems like it might be a good opportunity to make a trip. I don't know. Maybe take a trip. You want to take a trip for your birthday? Maybe
Go home and see an Orioles game.
I don't know. Maybe just no, not worth it. Maybe just a little trip out to the desert. Find a little place. Find a little hotel out in the desert. And we can put a bed down somewhere in Nevada.
Oh,
Maybe
Las Vegas?
Yes.
Go to Vegas for my birthday.
Go to Vegas. Yes.
Seeing as I'm going to Vegas on Monday too.
Are you going for the week? Oh, that's right. You're going to
Yeah.
whatchamacallit?
NAB.
NAB.
NAB. National Association of Broadcasters.
Yep.
Yep. I'm signed up for a podcasting thing too.
That's what
Learn about all the latest techniques.
That's what your 20%'s worth. All right, and that's sports ball for the week. All right. So quickly, because we are already at half an hour, if you'd believe it. All those shenanigans.
That
at the
joke
top.
took a long time.
Yeah, shenanigans took a long time to develop. So one thing I wanted to get into this week, something happened in LA. Obviously, we are in Los Angeles now, and as I'm working,
We are your LA podcast.
also your Baltimore podcast, does it? But we currently live in LA, and I am currently working in the music industry. So on Sunday, artist Nipsey Hussle was assassinated in front of his store.
Assassinated.
Yes. He was targeted because of who he was and was murdered.
Yeah, I
and
guess
he's
so.
a person of note. Therefore,
Yeah.
assassination is appropriate. Racist.
No, I always,
he can't be assassinated.
I always thought of assassinated more as like a political leader kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not so much just like for me, I would have said this was murder.
Yeah. No, this was
A really shitty murder too, because apparently the guy who shot him also came back afterwards and kicked him in the face before leaving.
Oh yeah, and shot him again.
Yeah.
Kicked him in the face, shot him again, and then left.
Yeah.
For good. So, and they're saying multiple gunshot wounds to the head and torso are probably the cause of death, and they think that the
I wonder why.
actual death shot was probably the one that he came back and kicked him in the head and then shot him in the head while he was on the ground. So like that's even worse. Like you take one in the chest, two in the chest, and you go down. You're like he would have made it, but then a guy came back, kicked him, and shot him in the head again,
Yeah.
and then left. So. That's pretty terrible. And the whole city's reeling, and LAPD has shut down everything from like in the Slauson and Crenshaw area of that intersection. And LAPD is overreacting, of course, and there was an incident in Memorial tonight where apparently people were just there to celebrate his life.
Like Lord Scooter all over again.
Basically, yes. It is very much that way, and it's horrible. But we caused R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, and to his family and like everybody. I hear he was like a really stand-up guy. He gave back a lot to his community. In fact, that store there, he would give people jobs just like sweeping up outside. So he's like, hey, homeless guy, he needs $20 a day. Great.
Yeah.
Here's a broom. Every hour, I'm going to come out, I'm going to give you the guns, and you just sweep up and down in front of this door. And then at the end of the day, I'll give you $140 for a day. $20 an hour. Just so he would be able to give the guy some money.
It's better than the film industry.
Oh, much better. And just like helping people
I saw a job
out.
posting today for $30. I nearly like.
Yeah, you got to get into rap.
Melted into the.
You got to get into the rap game. Rap game's where it's at.
Well, I mean, you don't have to have talent to really be good at it. So.
Anyway,
That's not against Nipsey Hussle. I actually think that he's pretty good. Everyone else is the problem.
Yeah, he is more of that 90s style, like, I have a message, and I'm actually rapping lyrics that you can understand, and it's not just gibberish. It's like, let me tell you a message.
4 top, 9-7, 6-3, the other number. Whatever.
Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Yeah, whatever 6ix9ine's doing.
Gotcha. But that begged a different...
Gucci gang.
I really want you to do a full cover, and let's shoot a video of you covering Gucci Gang.
We should just change it as
Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang.
instead of like
Gucci
Gucci Gang,
Gucci
like champion clothing.
You look and sound more like your dad every single day. So that begged the question when we were discussing Nipsey Hussle, because you actually did like him.
Yeah, I mean,
which is good.
I wouldn't say I was a fan, but I had heard things and was not totally disgusted by them.
Yes, which begged a different conversation because Roberto, a friend of the show, Roberto, who was here earlier.
Yeah, the one who was here speaking Spanish earlier,
Yes.
in case you forgot.
He discovered Billie Eilish this week.
Yeah.
Or this weekend, I suppose.
Yeah.
And
as opposed to me, who discovered Billie Eilish today.
Yes. Was he appalled, surprised and appalled. Mm-hmm. And he was making the argument that, like, how is this person any different than 6ix9ine? And he was saying that because I very much dislike Billie Eilish. And I thought for one time in our long
5 years,
nearly 18-year friendship at this point, we would actually agree.
Yeah.
On someone. But 'twas not to be. Well, because you listened to 30 seconds and no fully formed opinion, but you listened to 30 seconds and your initial opinion was?
I don't hate it.
It's like I can't win. I just can't win.
Honestly, it's like John Leguizamo. Like I like John Leguizamo fine. I never would, search him out. I would never go like, oh, I wonder what the next John Leguizamo movie is.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I need to like, I appreciate that Billie Eilish is actually trying to sing, I guess. I mean, like even if it's not good, at least it's an attempt. And I'd rather have more people like Leonard Cohen who go out there and don't have a good voice and actually try than the people who can't sing and then they cover it up with auto-tune.
So one note.
And I mean, like I might listen to another Billie Eilish song and it's all auto-tune and all fucked up and I don't know what I'm talking about. But
one sidebar if I can. Hello to Anne, who is catching the show for the first time in a while. Anne, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you taking
Ann.
the time. I think we used to call her Superfan Ann.
Yeah.
And really heartbroken that she hasn't caught the show live in a while. But we hope you're still listening on your podcatcher of choice.
Single tier.
Yeah. Of course, you can catch the show on any podcatcher, anything that gets an RSS feed, as well as YouTube and OTheanthem.com. But anyway, so Billie Eilish. I do think that when you listen to more songs, you're going to hear a little more auto-tune. I don't know what song you listen to, but here's my problem.
Try and figure it out.
Look it up. Here's my problem with Billie Eilish. She is everything that I hate and everything I thought you hated about the music industry, because she actually doesn't believe any of the stuff she's actually doing. Like they have created a character of Billie Eilish, and she is embodying the character and living the life, even though she doesn't believe in anything like that. It's very sad. And her songs are
When We All Fall Asleep. Is that?
So that's a song, sure. I Wish You Were Gay is another song.
I mean, to be fair, this is the first time actually seen parts of the video.
So do you see her,
I haven't
though?
actually before when I was listening to it, I was going like this just so I could hear it outside.
So what do you think seeing the video?
I mean, it kind of looks like if 9 Inch Nails and Lady Gaga had a baby.
Okay. Yes. And
At least from the video.
Yes. And I think that is exactly what they engineered your response to be.
Oh, I'm sure.
Not too hard. She's not 9 Inch Nails hard, but she looks like it. She looks like a girl who'd wear a 9 Inch Nails shirt because she likes the band.
Yeah.
But she's Lady Gaga pop style, but not as crazy as Lady Gaga. And oh, by the way, she does
She had a
have
spider crawling out of her mouth. That's kind of
in the video, yeah, in the video though, but not like in real life. She's not wearing a meat suit somewhere. You know what I mean? She's wearing like Doc Martens and a pants and like an all yellow outfit, and she's gonna take out her Invisalign on the video, like as if it's an outtake before the video starts, because she's just one of you.
Yeah.
And she's hot, but not that hot. She's attainable hot. And she's bisexual, but really only in the way that all girls are bisexual in 2019. Like all 19-year-old girls are bisexual. Like you don't really know, and I can't really say, and I don't want to judge, but it feels like maybe this is just a show for other people.
Maybe if the right situation came up.
Yeah, but it's not really about the girl. It's more about maybe it's about the people who are watching you with the girl and not so much about your feelings or about the girl that you're with.
Okay.
And if an alien from another planet was there, you would just as likely be with the alien because that would get you the attention that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that you feel a certain way about someone a certain
Yeah, but I
gender.
mean, like, there's also a part of like, it feels like you asked me, like, what do I think of Dexy's Midnight Runner? And I'm just like, well, seeing as I only know Come On Eileen,
Right.
I can only make a judgment call based off of that one song.
So here's my challenge to you. I would like you to listen.
maybe?
I'd like you to listen to her debut album, which
Okay.
is out and which is getting rave reviews.
Okay.
And I feel like it's getting rave reviews because
They're being paid for?
well, yes. One, they're being paid for. There's a huge push for Billie Eilish, but also because they have nailed this formula of pop, punk, rock, something that's not punk or rock, but just like this thing.
Ska?
Like ska, but like not really ska.
Not
the
horny
look is
ska?
Yeah, the look is ska.
It feels of ska, but it doesn't sound of ska.
Yes. And I mean, of course, when she's singing, a lot of the time she's just singing like this, and I'm not really singing. I'm just kind of talking along with the words and
Yeah.
And but like her look is very ska with like I don't care what I wear. All right, I wear these Doc Martens and I just wear this matching monochrome suit.
I mean,
this is what I am. This is who I am, and you have to get used to it.
If that's not who she is, like if we caught her at the Grove and she's wearing like pink,
Yeah.
like
Well, see, and that's not the thing. I think that we would catch her in her costume because she's embodying it. But I bet you 8 months ago,
and like $8,000 jorts or whatever.
Right. I think if we caught her 8 months ago, she
Did
would
you hear
not
about
be,
Janties?
No. Is it jort panties?
Yeah, only cost like $8,000.
Every day we get further and further from God. But no, I bet if we met Billie Eilish or whatever her real name is 8 months ago, she's a completely different person. But they said, hey, you got a good voice. It's not great. It's good. But if you
She's
do
that girl
this-
from Hofstra that we met at orientation.
Yes.
But in reverse.
100% that girl. But a little worse because she's actually doing it for pay. And also maybe squandering a little bit of talent. Like, I feel like she could be Jagged Little Pill.
Alanis Morissette?
She could be Alanis Morissette.
Yeah, but More important music conversation. Started with that right there.
Yeah.
Some idiot wrote an article that was intentionally designed to get everybody mad.
Yeah.
And then everyone fucking got mad, and I couldn't believe that I was watching it happen. It's just like if I decided tomorrow I'm going to write an article, it's just like, yeah, Michael Jordan really wasn't all that great. And then I just get a whole bunch of people like tweeting like,
right.
How fucking dare you say that about us?
But the Kobe people are going to be like, see, we were right all along. He's not that good. Yeah.
And then the LeBron James people are like, oh, basketball's still happening?
So it's about Alanis Morissette?
Yeah, it was somebody wrote that now I have the courage to say it, 15 years after the album came out, but Jagged Little Pill is not only overrated, but it's a bad album.
Okay,
and then people went crazy.
You're just trying to get.
I read an article with Kay Hanley where it's just like, let's not listen to this fucking person. Like, she obviously doesn't know what she's talking about.
Getting
like
the reaction that they want. They don't care about that.
That's exactly. I was watching it happen, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, people, pay attention.
So I feel like that Billie Eilish or whoever she
like,
really
I feel
is,
like every single episode of our podcast should just be like.
Every day we get further and further from God.
Spending time talking about things that people love and just be like, who really fucking sucks? Tom Hanks.
He's the worst. He just got a star on the Hollywood Star of Fame. I'm going to go shit on it. That's right. Literally shit on it because
it actually wasn't his. It was his wife's. But nobody knows what her name is, Rita Wilson. That doesn't make any sense. His last name is Hanks. What are you, against the traditional family marriage? We should dissolve this.
Yes.
Like,
and you know what? And then every single week people are just going to be like,
did you hear about on the O The Anthem podcast how they said Tom Hanks was fucking ridiculous?
And you know what his best movie was?
What?
Polar Express.
Ooh.
Best movie from Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Suck on that, internet.
But yeah, no. So Billie Eilish, I feel like she had the potential to be a Alanis Morissette type.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure that there's something in her lyrics that are her, and there's something in that feeling and that look that's her. But they said we need 20% more Lady Gaga, and we need a little bit more Nine Inch Nails and a little less Alanis Morissette.
You remember when Jewel was like a singer-songwriter,
yes.
And then like 2 or 3 years in, she started doing like pop songs, and you could see like the dead in her eyes, like slightly behind.
That is
what
the
she
look
was
that
doing.
Billie
That's
Eilish
what I.
has.
That's what I want. I want to watch one of these videos and see the dead in her eyes, and then I'll know.
Literally, so maybe not the videos themselves, but watch her giving interviews over like the last 2 months as this ramp up has happened to her fucking video or her album dropping, and you can literally just see her like dying inside until now. It's all done.
This is one of the things I like about movies and TV as opposed to music.
Yeah,
is that like I couldn't make a star in movies or TV.
Yeah.
Assuming that I had like an unlimited budget in which I could operate like
sure.
like these record companies could, I couldn't make somebody like the biggest star in the world in a year. But Sony or Warner Brothers or any of these record labels can just say like, all right, we're going to drop $5 million into making Billie Eilish the biggest thing ever. And in 2 weeks, they can make her a household name.
Well, and forget about
just
money,
by paying for media and putting her out there.
Forget about that. UMG is a major stakeholder in iHeartRadio now. So like, if you are a UMG artist, they can just put you in constant rotation on 1,400 stations nationwide. So it's not even that they're making a star. It's that, and this, what Roxy said to me was, this is the fucking kind of song that gets in your head, and you end up liking it after a couple weeks because you just hear it so much that you're like, it's catchy. It's catchy.
Well, I mean, like,
I like it.
I remember back in the day, when T.I. What You Know was playing on the radio like every 12 and a half seconds somewhere in America.
Yeah.
And like, it was just like, that's a really good song. I like this song. And then after it went away, I was just like, I need more of this. Where is it gone? I need to buy this album.
Can I purchase this album somewhere? I really need it.
And then I went and I bought the CD. That's how old I am.
Yes, and they got you for your. By the way, you're $21.99 for a 10
it wasn't
song.
that. It was like $12. So tape traders.
What?
Tape traders.
Tape traders.
Yeah.
Why would you be trading masking tape?
Record and tape traders.
Record and tape traders?
Yeah.
What would you do there?
That's an important part of my childhood right there.
Yes, children. This is a location where you would take records, meaning vinyl records, and cassette tapes.
Kids know what vinyl records are.
These small
They'd be
square
more
boxes.
likely to know vinyl records than tapes.
Probably true, yeah. Small cassette tapes, and you could actually listen to them and then take them back here, and they would give you a credit for them, and you could get another one.
Back in the day, you could listen to one side of the tape, and then as soon as it got to the end, you'd take it out, you flip it over, and you listen to the other side.
Yeah. A and B side. A and B side.
What a crazy world we live in.
Oh, there goes some more cops down to South LA. Super. All right. So anyway, Billie Eilish. I want you. My challenge to you this week is to listen to the album.
I'll take a
Let's
listen.
just touch back and see how you feel about.
I'll see how
Billie
much
Eilish.
I can handle.
Yes. All right. So
Maybe 30 seconds is all I could do.
I mean, just at least do 30 seconds of each track, just so you kind of get a spread. But at the request of a listener to the podcast, what I'd like to do now is to take just a few moments and cover a subject that I think we've been bereft of touching.
Okay.
And that is Brexit.
Okay.
So I think we did touch on a few weeks ago that the Brits and the Europeans had come to an agreement they would extend the deadline to May, and we're coming up on the May deadline now. I think we're 6 weeks ago, May 15th, I think.
Yeah.
And what this listener asked is, what happens? What is Brexit, and what happens? And I think that maybe a lot of people in England are actually asking, what is Brexit? Even though they voted for it a year ago.
I think they're aware at this point.
Yeah, they weren't aware when they voted.
Yeah.
A lot of them were just like, taking sides based on which politician they liked. What's that like, Britain? I have no idea. But now it's a reality. So, can you give the people at home a summary of Brexit, Corey?
Okay. Well, there was the
This
European.
is me putting Corey on the spot.
There was the European Union, which was basically all the countries in Europe, and what it allowed was for like borderless trade and creating like this sort of super country in a way of all the little countries within Europe, of which 5 of them are global powers, and Britain being one of them. Some may argue I would say behind Germany. Would you say?
Yeah, sure.
2 behind Germany, second most important world player behind Germany?
Yes, except for not as important to Europe because they never adopted the currency.
Yeah.
So it
They
wasn't.
kept
They
the
weren't as
pound.
key to the strength of Europe as others.
But I'm
were,
saying, as far as part of the reason why they were able to keep the pound was because they weren't as gung ho about the EU from the beginning.
Oh yeah, and in the
They thought it was going to all go down in flames, and they wanted to have the pound
yes. The original
unmessed with.
The original thing was that it was the European Economic Cooperation Zone. And that was really just England and France. And then kind of like the Netherlands and Belgium joined, and then like the smaller Sweden or Switzerland and Austria and Italy and a couple other places joined. And they said, we're going to make just free trade. That's all this is going to be. And then the French went and ran with it and said, hey, how about we just make one big super government, and it'll be above all of us, and they'll make rules for all of us to follow.
Yeah, much like the United States makes rules, and then the states have their own individual rules.
And basically, about this
And
time,
France can be different from England, much like California can be different from Texas.
About this time is when the Soviet Union was breaking up, and so they said, oh, well, we have a bunch of new economies, and if we loop all of these countries together, they will actually be a challenge for the United States or for China, as it seems to be rising in Asia, Japan at the time, and China as it's coming up.
Right.
But they could never challenge them on their own. They would always be 7, 8, 15, 33.
Yeah.
But together, they could be 2 if they really put their stuff together.
Right.
England said, hey, we don't think this currency is made to last. We're going to keep our pound sterling, which has been a currency since, I don't know, William the Conqueror. So, 1,000 years of currency stability. We're going to keep that. Thanks. But we do like the
5
economic
times
cooperation.
longer than America has had the dollar.
Oh man, what is that? I heard a really awesome thing this week that said in America, 200 years is a long time, and in Europe, something is a. God damn it!
1,500 years.
No, it was like something like. Well, it was in Europe. This is a long time. In America, 200 years is a long time. In Europe, 200 miles is a long way. No, yes, in Europe, 200 miles is a long trip. In America, 200 years is a long time, because you can go 200 miles in Texas and still be inside the state of Texas. But in Europe, you go 200 miles and you've gone from Paris to Poland, basically, across the entire continent. Anyway, so in Europe, you go 200 miles is a long way. In America, 200 years is a long time. So
it's roughly the same distance as Berlin to Warsaw. I don't know why I would know about those.
Yeah, that is a long way. No, but I mean, that's also the entire eastern seaboard.
Yeah.
That's travel basically between DC and not quite Boston, but like
A little bit further up.
no, Rhode Island,
New Hampshire.
Rhode Island, because it's 160 miles between DC and New York. So 40 beyond that, not quite to Boston.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
we've enlightened
not important.
people with some geography.
Not important. There's your geography lesson for today. Point being, economic cooperation zone. We're going to keep the pound, but we'll be free trade. And then Europe kind of got itself even more together, and they said, "Hey, we're going to have a government." And Britain said, "All right, we'll opt into the government, but we're going to keep our money. But literally, we'll follow all of your rules and all of that stuff."
Yeah.
And then Europe started being a true democracy and saying, "Hey, should we let in Greece? They got a huge debt problem, but I feel like, hey, wouldn't you like to go to Greece without having to pay taxes?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, great, we'll let them in." And Brits were like, "Maybe not."
I don't want to pay for Greece.
Yeah. And then Croatia, and then Albania, and then Bosnia, and then Romania.
Italy, who was already in there.
Italy got full access rather than just into the monetary system as well, instead of just the free
But they've
trade.
been paying for Italy this whole time while they've been fucking up their economy.
Yes. So it's a huge mess. And the Brits basically said, all right, we've had enough. We have our own problems with National Health Service and our debt. That's not debt, but like what we owe to our citizens, like retirements and things like that. So we're going to just cut ties and walk away. And literally, the only people who voted for this were Native Englanders
Trump
over the
voters.
age of 30. Yes. It's 30 year. I mean, everybody's
English
white.
Trump voters.
Everybody's white.
I mean, Boris
in-
Johnson is essentially Trump.
Yes. He's the English Trump.
Yeah. And the other guy, too. I can't even remember his Niles or whatever.
Yeah.
Niles Lafarge or I can't.
Niles Lafarge. That is, in fact, it.
Is it?
Boris Johnson and Niles Lafarge. Whoa, deep pull. Where did that come from?
I still don't think it's right, though.
No, that's not. It's Niles Lafarge. Look it up. Niles space LA capital FARGE. Niles Lafarge. Anyway, so, right?
Hold on.
Niles Lafarge? Dead air.
This is not coming up right away, which is making me think that I did not get this
No,
right.
it's Niles something. I'm pretty sure it's an L. Niles Lafarge.
I'm going to type in Brexit Niles. And it will come up right away. I'm sure of it. Niles Brexit? Let's see.
Niles Farage.
Farage, that's it.
F-A-R-A-G,
I
but
added-
not bad.
I added a la in front.
Yeah.
I Frenched it up.
Not bad. Deep pull.
Yeah,
Just
I
pulling
don't
that
know.
from the old noggin.
I don't know where that came from.
But anyway, so they said they led a bunch of Englanders who were really older than 40 and said, hey, don't you want to have a retirement in 10 years or 20 years? We need to get out of this thing and protect Britain. And everyone younger was like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of other problems that we're going to have to deal with in the next 20 years. And maybe this is not the most important thing. And they said, no, we are white and we know better.
Yeah, and it was a very comical vote because it was not thought out.
No.
It was not a plan. It's not like here's what we would do if we Brexited.
Yes.
It was just, do you want Brexit? And then it was left to other people to figure out what that meant.
Much like,
It'd be like much like if I said like, do you want $1 million? And
Yes.
you'd be like, yeah, but of course I want $1 million. And then you find out that I killed everyone you know and love to get you that $1 million.
I took their money and gave it to you.
Yeah.
And
then you're just like, well, that's not how I wanted it.
it was very much
There was time now.
it was very much make America great.
Yeah.
Make America great again, where it's like, it's this thing like, yeah, Brexit, but you don't really know how you're going to do it or what it even means to do it. Now, people knew what it meant, but not the people who voted yes for it. They had no idea what it was.
Let's do a just some quick thoughts.
Yes.
5 weeks from now, Brexit happens. What do you imagine is the immediate fallout?
So Europe
Besides England's economy crashing.
Europe doesn't seem to care, but I do think that they do care. They're going to be losing their largest trading partner, like America may lose theirs, but we'll get to that in a minute. Theresa May's government's going to fall.
Yeah.
Probably before Brexit, if they can't work something out. I think that the only thing that they can do is Theresa May can step down. She can do a vote of no confidence. They no confidence her, which means new elections have to happen within 6 weeks. And when the new elections happen,
They can put another Brexit amendment on there or something
yes,
like that. Yeah.
Theresa May basically says, hey, this is a referendum on Brexit. If you put the Conservatives back in, that means you want Brexit. If you go with the Tories, if you go with the Liberal Party or the Labour Party, then that means you're against Brexit and you want to go in. And then Europe just has to watch and say, all right, so they're going to hold this election. It's going to be May 11th. Let's see how it shakes out. May 15th is a deadline.
By the way, in case you're confused about how English political parties basically work out, if you're in the Labour Party, you're basically way farther left than any politician in America right now.
Yes.
You're like Bernie on some sort of super liberal steroids. And if you're on the far right side of the English government, you are essentially like Bill Clinton.
Yes.
And people like McConnell don't exist in England. They
just do. Boris Johnson arguably is the right wing of the right party, but they can't say the things out loud that McConnell says out loud.
He's the right
here.
wing in the way that he acts like it, but then he doesn't necessarily vote like it.
True.
Like he wouldn't do anything to take away anyone's health care. Like,
no, absolutely not. But you know what? In their private rooms,
might he
they
do
talk
something?
about it.
Might he do something like keep Garland off the bench and put Gorsuch in instead? That might be the type of thing that Boris Johnson would be capable of.
Yes,
if it was a similar situation in England. But
now keep in mind that it's not Gorsuch and Garland. Then it's Garland and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like. Yeah. The far left versus the medium left judge. Yeah. Like they're all kind of left. Yeah.
It's Kennedy. Kennedy is being brought up as the far right judge.
Yeah. So I mean, like things are a little different, but again, keep in mind that there is a wing of the Tory party the Conservative Party that is very much Donald Trump's brand of conservatism. Yeah. But they dare
Nationalist.
they dare not say it because there are still people alive who hid from bombs that were dropped by nationalist people. Yeah. And time's not there for that yet. Maybe it will be someday, but not yet.
Well, here's number one. If they put up a goddamn fence between Ireland and North Ireland, then there will be war on the streets. There will be a bloody Sunday like you have never seen before.
Odds that the Republic of Ireland invades Northern Ireland.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, at some point they just have to say.
I mean, how long do I have to make that? I mean, like, I don't imagine it will actually happen like the next day, but I imagine that there is going to be like a month or two of like real feistiness that's going on at the border, and then all it takes is one person, much like any conflict between Palestine and Israel, where it's just like one person shoots across the border and it's a fucking full-fledged incident.
So, but keep in mind,
at least back in the day when that was more.
Keep in mind though that the Good Friday Accords were made with the IRA, not with the government of Ireland. Yeah. And much like the Palestinian border conflict, Hamas is the one firing rockets across. They make up a minority of the government. Sinn Féin, which is the political arm of the IRA, makes up a sizable minority, but still a minority. I don't know, although I would wager that over a long enough time it would be true, that they would weigh on the moderate members and say, are you Irish or are you not? Yeah. And listen, we're not talking about terrorism anymore. We are talking about they're in breach of an agreement. Let's go take back our fifth.
There's also county. the other side of if Britain leaves, then you're going to see the dissolution of the United Kingdom over time as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I mean, Scotland was already close to being out before,
and they voted very much to stay. Yeah, and they could vote to leave the UK and rejoin Europe as an independent country.
And there could potentially be some sort of not peace between Northern Ireland and Ireland, but sort of a working agreement that we are going to jettison from England and work on our things together over here.
Well, I mean, I think if they kept things the way they are, they could leave the UK, become the fifth county of Ireland, and get a real significant voting block in Irish politics. Yeah. And then, hey, you get a little say. You know, you get the prime ministership every third time or whatever. A Protestant gets a prime ministership every once and again, and you're good. And in fact, we'll give you the first one. Yeah. Where you reunite.
You ain't getting the first one.
No, because they've had, I mean, the Republic of Ireland has had a prime minister for the last 100 years now. Yeah. So it's like, we'll give you the first one once you join. We'll give you. And because the prime minister can be recalled at any time, right? It's like,
yeah, kind of.
Anyway, so I think that there is something to be worked out there. The thing that's holding back Northern Ireland and Scotland and Wales is The government in London.
Yeah.
London, which is the capital of England, but
And
it's also the capital of the
Wales,
United
of
Kingdom.
course, isn't going anywhere because what the fuck is Wales going to do all by itself?
To be fair, they are actually way more progressive than the rest of England.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm aware of that, but I'm saying like Wales all by itself is not going to be able to sustain itself. That's the problem.
So
that's always been the problem with Wales.
One of the
like Scotland could hypothetically break free and be its own country.
One of the things that they're talking about is that basically everything that's not Northern Ireland and England becomes its own country.
Yeah.
So like you would get the Greater United Kingdom.
And I mean, like if Scotland or Wales just decided to join the EU, then that would take care of a lot of the problems that would face it right away if it became its own independent country.
But one of the theories that's out there is that Scotland doesn't break off and join the EU. That Scotland, Wales, the Isle of Man, the Isle of Wight, the Isle of all these islands break off together. They form a country that is the Greater United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And join together,
join
the UK or join the
EU.
Yeah. And leave England, the little lower slice of the lower right slice of the island, on its own.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you guys are on your own. And then England's not the 8th largest economy anymore, by the way. Then it's, the
37th,
maybe, whatever it is without Northern Ireland, Scotland, and everything else.
It's hilarious how big of their economy is based off of everyone that's associated with them. But
now, and what do they do about all the overseas possessions too? That's a big question. Because they still do have some overseas stuff. Not important.
Yeah. Something tells me that India is not going to take this time to, or Jamaica or anything like that.
No, Jamaica's no, they're all independent, but they do have some islands that are like British.
Yeah.
Bermuda's an independent country. Jamaica's an independent country. India's independent. But there are some islands. Like,
doesn't Jamaica still have a tie to England or something?
Yeah, it's part of the like we are historically.
It's kind of like
Empire.
Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Puerto Rico to the United States. Like it's technically part of.
No.
Well, no, it's its own thing, but it has a casual or a tenuous relationship with the United States, like they have with the United Kingdom.
Like the Philippines. Used to be a possession, has independence, but strong ethnic and other ties to the country that used to have possession.
Yeah, but not a state of.
Not a state of, yes. Yeah. And not a territory of either. Just, we're our own country. We do our own thing. But you go to certain houses, you used to have a picture of the Queen up.
Yeah.
And when the Queen does her world tour, she'll stop in Jamaica because it's one of the former possessions. And whatever. But anyway. More importantly, all of this is all things that have not been worked out in the Brexit deal. All of these things are issues.
Yeah.
So it could be any number of horrible things that would happen. Basically, though, nothing good happens without Theresa May stepping down. She needs to just fall on the sword.
Yes.
And it's interesting because the leader of the Conservative Party in England needs to fall on her sword, much the same as a little sidebar here, the leader of the Liberal Party in Baltimore also needs to fall on her sword.
Yeah.
By the way, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers to Catherine Pugh. She's dealing with some pneumonia right now, and certainly it's not anything that's just getting her out of the news cycle. It's a serious.
Cut to Ben Stiller in Zoolander when he's like, "I think I got the black lung pop." It's Catherine Pugh trying to avoid any kind of healthy Holly problems.
Yeah. And by the way, Corey's intro was a reference to Healthy Holly. If
Morbidly obese Morton.
Yes. But you said that you think that by the time we're here next week, we didn't want it to people to think we didn't know that stuff happened, but at the same time, it's like, she says she has pneumonia. She's stepping down for a little bit.
I also said, 2 weeks ago when this whole fucking thing started?
She's not going to survive this.
That this is...
The dumbest.
It's the dumbest fucking thing that anyone has ever fallen for. Like, honest to God, if she came out the first day when they announced this and said, it just told the truth and just came out. It's amazing how many times politicians have gotten away with things just by telling the truth.
Yep.
She would have just come out and said, yeah, you know what? I was on the board. I talked about the book. They said they wanted to buy it. I thought it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Clearly it was. I'm sorry. I'll make any kind of restitution I need to. I'll drop off the board. But I don't think that this is just short-sightedness of my part. And if they said, did you sell the book to anyone else? You could be like, yeah, I sold it to a couple other people. But, again, I wasn't thinking of it in terms of like making some sort of power grab. It just sort of happened. Yeah. And I admit that I made a mistake. And we could have moved on from it.
In each case, I probably got more money than I should have because of my position. But... listen, the book has value.
I still was, legally speaking, all within my rights to sell a book for cost.
Yes, but I recognize that I I screwed up.
And then she could have avoided all the problems of like, oh, well, these books are sitting in some book depository at the school board or something like that. She could have avoided all that shit if she would have just been straight about it up front. Now she's got to have fake pneumonia. Now she's got to go and lie in the weeds for a week and hope that this all passes.
And hope that Jack gives her power back after a week of being mayor. So I guess we'll see. But we'll check in with you next week and we'll see where Catherine is.
I didn't think that Sheila Dixon stealing $500 something worth of gift cards could be outdone.
Yep.
But somehow Catherine Pugh has fallen ass backwards into the most hilarious, unlikely scandal in Baltimore history in a while.
And let this teach you all, mayoral candidates. Don't make fun of the mayor's fall. Listen, Ryan, or any other member of the council who's thinking about running for mayor.
Yitzy.
Maybe we don't make fun of Pew on this because maybe 4 years from now they're going to be like, also, wait. He did what?
Also, just one other thing, because I saw this like in two different city councilman tweets or something like that, where they were just like, listen, Baltimore isn't broken. We just have a real problem right now. I'm like, I don't think we're properly putting into context the fact that our last police commissioner is now going to spend 10 months in jail for tax evasion. We're not remembering about the gun trace task force, which ran roughshod all over the whatever was left of the integrity of the Baltimore Police Department.
Also, more arrests coming on that that are related to that. More national indictments. So federal indictment.
Not talking about how the Baltimore city government is bought and paid for by like the 5 big companies that basically run Baltimore right now.
Gentrification is worse in Baltimore than any other place in the country,
and it's gotten worse. Like not even like it. Alabama has gotten more progressive over the last 60 years than Baltimore has. Take that for a fucking.
They're about to knock down a bunch of houses because they have lead paint in them, and they haven't considered the fact that knocking them down will spread the lead paint to other places around it.
Yeah,
that's the plan right now.
They did that already. They said we need to knock down a whole bunch of houses, and then they did, and then they realized that they put lead paint in the air.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we can't do that anymore. But in the meanwhile, a bunch of kids got fucking lead paint poisoning again. Oh my god, it's just, like really honest to God. I'm not saying that Ryan Dorsey or Yitzy or Jack Young or any of these people aren't perfectly fine individuals who have Baltimore's best interest at heart and they want to do good for their city, and that's the reason why they ran and why they continue to run and stuff like that. But literally, we just need to fucking start over. Like, there's no way. Like, how do you correct this midstream? Because it's like it's the same problem that Chicago's been dealing with for fucking ever.
Yeah,
you get one horribly corrupt government, and then you're just like, all right, we're going to get rid of the 3 people who we were able to find guilty of corruption. And you forget about the other 90 people who are just allowed to run free. Like, I don't know who the people who are guilty or who are soiled here in this whole thing are. So I just got to get rid of everybody.
Yeah.
I can't, you know what? Harrison can stay. I think Harrison, because he's the first step in sort of a complete renewal of the Baltimore Police Department.
Also,
and if you said to him, like, hey, guess what? Chains off. Do whatever you want. You can start this whole department over from scratch if you want.
Fire everybody.
Yeah.
Break your deal with the FOP.
I don't imagine he would say like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
He would take that opportunity. We should do the same thing with the city council. Anybody who has or ever was anything in the city council can never run again. We need to start completely fresh and new. And I don't know. It's so bad.
Well, speaking of fresh and new, the Democrats are lining up their nominations for 2020, and the front of the list, Joe Biden, fresh and new candidate we've never seen before.
Certainly hasn't run for president 3 times before. So.
Definitely not, and in 3 decades, by the way, right?
Yeah,
70s, 80s,
like
and 2000s. He's run for president. No, 60s, 80s, and 2000s. He ran for president. Because he ran against Teddy in the 80s.
Yeah.
He ran against Robert. No, it was 70s. 70s, 80s.
Yeah. Late 70s, late 80s.
And then 2000s.
Late 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh faces.
Because he ran in 2008 before Obama. He was third in the Obama-Hillary Biden discussion. So.
Yes. And it took the vice presidency as a way of adding some
gravitas.
Yeah, and some foreign knowledge, foreign state experience.
Yeah.
To Obama, who had a lot of domestic, but not anything foreign.
Right.
But yeah, back to fresh face in the discussion. And leading polls for the week of the 14th through the 26th, or the period from the 14th to 26th. However, something came out on the 28th, which was that Joe Biden, unapologetically, apparently at this point, may have kissed and fondled a Nevada assemblywoman without her consent.
Yeah. Kissed her on the back of the head, apparently, is how she described it.
But also put his hands on her in a way that I can't really describe how he touched her.
Literally, anyone who has seen videos of Joe Biden has seen this before.
Yeah,
He does this all the time.
He's a creepy guy.
I hear a lot of people who know Joe Biden who say that this is just sort of how he is. But that doesn't play anymore. That's not a reasonable excuse for.
Yeah, that's what you say about your grandpa. Not the guy running for president of the United States. That's not really what we do.
He's set in
anymore.
his ways. You can't teach him now.
Nope, that's not what we say. We don't do that. But by the way, skewing the Democratic convention results right now. Like again, Joe, this is it. You know, after this, you're not going to make it. Like I know that you're going to say, "Oh, it's nothing. Let's move on." It's not nothing. We're not going to move on. Mm-hmm. Step down. It's time to just wrap it up. You've fought the good fight. You've been a good American. You're not going to be president. Hillary, I hope, has learned that lesson as well, that she's fought a good fight, but she's not going to be president. And hopefully she stays away in 2020. Hopefully you will too. God, let's hope Bernie Sanders does as well, because we just don't need any of them.
I think Bernie is going to have a natural fall in this election.
Ugh, I hope so.
If I'm just sort of predicting how this goes, I imagine that Bernie stays in the front for a while, but then maybe he gets usurped by somebody below him who starts.
Warren and him are basically the same person, and she's the younger and more hip.
Or
version.
the more. I mean, I would say that Elizabeth Warren, despite the fact that I think she goes a little bit too far with all of her ideas, at least has substantial ideas.
Yeah.
That, she could hypothetically put any one of these things up for a vote tomorrow. And it would be something that could be figured out. Bernie has a whole lot of let's get rid of college, or let's get rid of college debt. And it's just how do we do that? It's and Medicaid, why don't we do that too? And it's just no, you got to answer the first question first.
Grandpa, focus up.
It's great that you want to get rid of the college debt, but how?
Yeah. And speaking of the senile grandfather, just so we touch on all the topics this week, President Trump, not understanding how economics works, wants to close the southern border. Southern border seems kind of important there, Corey.
Yeah. Seeing as Mexico is our largest trading partner.
Yes. And closing the border would effectually stop the trade with a largest trading partner.
So how much did you pay for a head of lettuce recently?
I think I paid 89 cents for a head of romaine lettuce.
That if a trade war with Mexico develops, which it will if you close the border from it. Yeah. Not only are all the heads of lettuce, hypothetically, I don't know how much lettuce Mexico is.
A lot, I would say.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'm saying not only is that not coming to America and just basically spoiling over in Mexico and becoming unedible food.
Oh, well, no. It'll get here. It'll go through Canada. You'll pay customs in Canada. Then it'll come to the United States. You'll pay
it'll cost $5 by the time it gets to you.
Yeah. All the transportation and all the taxes. And Mexico will say, hey, Canada, you don't need this much lettuce. Clearly, you're buying it to trade back to the United States. So we're going to upcharge you again on top of all of that. So $5 a head of lettuce, sure.
Also, all the other companies that left America to go to Mexico are going to have a hard time getting their Carrier air conditioners over here and their GM cars and stuff like that.
Maybe they'll bring the jobs back.
Oh, maybe that's part of Trump's elaborate plan. To
maybe they'll send them to Southeast Asia because really it's about the pay. It's not necessarily about where they are. It's about the pay. So anyway.
Sometimes he does things so stupid that I just can't even I get that you have this blood feud going with Mexico. Yeah. That you think that they're responsible for all the wrong that's happening in the United States. But I don't agree with the idea, but I'm saying, sure, I get how you can come to that.
Did you see the Fox News?
I don't get how the 3 Mexican countries. I can understand you don't like Mexico, But what I don't understand is how you're willing to literally trash your economy to make a fucking point. Like,
There is a turn of phrase. Cut off your nose to spite your face. This is literally the most exact example of doing that.
Yeah.
I want to hurt you so bad, I'm going to hurt myself to do it.
By the way,
you're going to have to look at my ugly face.
I don't know how many people who listen to the sound of my voice follow the stock market at all, but 20,000 had traditionally been sort of like the high end unattainable goal of the stock market. And then after the economy rebounded after Obama, it went up to 25. And that was seen as, how the hell is that ever going to happen?
Yeah.
And then since Trump took office, it's basically stayed in the general area of 25, but has had massive, huge, amazing fluctuations.
Yeah.
Which is very uncommon for this. I mean, usually what you'll see is like, 170 up, 170 down, 200 up, 200 down. Like these sort of numbers are more realistic. Having like a 980 point drop on the stock market is calamitous.
But no, because it's if you look at it at volume,
I mean,
the volume is way lower.
If you're taking it from 25 to 24 and you're still 4 ahead of where you thought the highest peak that you would ever reach is,
right,
then it doesn't feel as bad. But the fact that it fluctuates so rapid or so violently means that if like we decide to have a trade war with Mexico, right, then we could wake up literally the next day into a global depression.
Well, so yeah. So the thing to keep in mind is when it was 11,000, let's say,
yeah,
a drop of 450 points would have been a lot.
Yeah.
But even though twice that at 22,000, a drop of 900 points does not have the impact of half of that.
Yeah.
It actually has the impact of somewhere less than half of that because the volume is so high. The volume of trading is so high.
Right.
So
and I'm not saying that a 900 point drop is necessarily something that should have everyone scurrying for the hills, but I'm saying the fact that we have gotten to the point where the numbers that fluctuate are 3 or 4 times higher than they used to be, or more, is the part that is the problem. Because when the stock market collapse happened back in the 30s, it was because everyone decided that they saw it coming and then sold out. Yeah. And then there was no stock market left. And everyone who had money in the stock market got out of it. And everyone who didn't have money in the stock market starved to death.
And keep in mind, middle, lower, and working class people with money in the stock market, if there's going to be a loser when this comes, it's going to be you. Yeah. Your retirements, all of your investments are all going to be going. And if someone can save themselves something, it will be the rich people. Yeah. Who will say, hey,
well, not only that, but the
program.
rich people have the opportunity of hiring somebody who can watch for these sort of things.
Right.
So if they see all of a sudden something that looks bulletproof, like, I don't know, you'd say you have 100 shares of Apple, and then all of a sudden Apple takes a tumble and they realize that this is the start of the entire stock market coming unraveled.
Sell everything.
Sell everything. Just get rid of that portfolio.
And PS,
you maybe take a small loss on what you've already lost on the depreciation of the stock. Yeah. Assuming that it goes lower than what you purchased it for. But the idea that you would be able to have some sort of lump sum of money to work off of.
Also, they have computer programs that model and say, hey, everything's going up today, but tomorrow it's all going to come crashing down and the entire economy is going to collapse. So maybe sell today, even though it looks like it's on its way up, because you'll get a really good price for it. And then tomorrow somebody else will be stuck with it. So just sell out. And guess who doesn't have that? You, Joe Schmo, who's sitting at his kitchen table the next morning with a paper.
Here's another one for Joe Schmo. 2-part thing. Number one, some of the most expensive real estate in the entire world is in the southern part of Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And it's not just because it's the southern part of Manhattan, but it's also because there is actually an area that gets stock information quicker than the rest. Yes. And that is located within the same internet network protocol as the stock market. Yes. So if you are a trader who has office space in this particular area in southern Manhattan, you can make a move a full minute before anyone else can. Mm-hmm. So if you see something going, you can sell out before anyone even sees that it happened. Yep. Second of all, we're not using the gold standard anymore. We're literally printing money without anything backing it up. Yeah. So if the entire stock market collapses, so does the value of the U.S. dollar. So people who are selling out everything they have in the stock market, like I don't know, some rich CEO or something like that who just decides to divest of their entire portfolio, can quickly turn that American money into pounds, just
Sure.
as another currency.
Money that's been stable for 1,000 years.
Yeah, just turn it all into pounds. Watch the entire U.S. economy collapse, and that.
Although maybe until May 15th, not great.
Well, yeah,
to
I
turn
mean,
into
I'm just
pounds.
saying, like, you know, if it happened right
Maybe
now, I'm just,
Chinese yuan. That's probably a nice stable economic means.
man, if
Chinese
I
yuan.
wake up tomorrow and Trump has decided to close the border, and by the time we record the podcast the entire economy has collapsed, then
Yep.
I think we have many things to
Yeah. But you know what could save us? Hands Across America. If anything could save us, it's Hands Across America. So we did see Us this week. The review for Us is up on CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com.
I just for people who are wondering, I didn't spoil it during the actual review portion. I did a little couple minutes at the end.
And I don't want to get into it because I don't want to spoil it either. Just check out the review. That's promotion. I finally saw Captain Marvel, so that happened. My one thing I kept thinking all the way through is you've seen Captain Marvel. Right?
Yeah.
If Brie Larson and her fellow pilot are a man and a woman, there's no way that's not a love story, right? An unrequited love story.
Maybe, yeah. The thing I kept thinking about, and it has stuck with me more recently. I don't even think I necessarily brought it up in the review, but it sort of hit me more that I've thought about it. Is that this movie seems like it was originally written in chronological order, and then they realized that it wasn't good, and then they just flipped it all around to hope to make it like a little bit more interesting.
I can see that, yeah.
It feels like at one point they shot a movie that happens in chronological order, where
they
she's
realize
she's in the Air Force, and then she goes back to the planet, and then the planet goes away, and she has to go to the
The unknown part of
Yeah.
it kind of added a little mystique as you went
right.
along.
And the fact that you would just randomly come into her being in the Air Force like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Well, I mean,
And
I
you're
also
just
saw
like-
that coming as soon
Well, I
as-
know. I mean,
yeah,
it was in the trailer, but I'm saying
Oh,
like
I didn't see the trailer though.
Well, yeah,
right.
but-
I avoid the trailers, but I was just like, okay, so nothing is what it seems right now. I
Yeah.
don't trust any of this stuff. But you know, overall, good movie.
Oh yeah, that's not a slight against it. It's just that I think that they figured out a way around a problem that a lot of movies would just be dead on arrival.
Oh, yeah.
because they wouldn't be able to figure out how to fix that problem.
Yeah, and
And I think Feige and Marvel have at this point can even look at like something that's destroyed in front of them and be like, "There's fixing this.
Yes.
There's something we can do."
it's a history of wins, honestly.
Yeah.
From his point of view, it's like, all right, so we've not got a loser yet. So let's see what we got. What can we reshoot? Like, honestly, the whole Theirs thing may have been added in reshoots.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's how you connected everything together.
Yeah.
The thing. So, but yeah, nonetheless, I'll tell you what it did. I haven't seen a Marvel movie since last fall. What was the last one before this?
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yeah.
which I didn't see. What was before that?
Avengers.
Was that really the last one?
I think so.
Well, I'm back in the saddle for Endgame.
Yeah.
This got me excited for Endgame, which is obviously Kevin Feige's a genius, and that's the whole point was for me to go see this thing and to be like, you know, I haven't seen a Marvel movie in a while, and I
You
wasn't
just
really
paid
up
to
for
watch
it.
the trailer for Endgame.
I mean,
essentially,
basically, yeah. But also to see like, you know, again, not to spoil anything. I don't think it is a spoiler, but just like you go in, you come out of Infinity War and say, I don't know how they're going to get out of this, but this one you're like, sliver of hope.
Ant-Man in the butt.
That's not going to be how it is. That's not going to be what happens. I wonder because we had a discussion.
Did
at
you
work.
see? Did you see the trading Instagrams from Paul Rudd and?
No. Wait, what? Like Paul Rudd and who?
So Paul Rudd did an Instagram where he was holding like the little tiny miniature Ant-Man.
yeah.
And he's just like, coming for you, Thanos. And then there was a Instagram where Josh Brolin was on the shitter, like going like taking care of my Ant-Man problem or something like that. So it's like they're both leaning into the fun of this, but
I love that they're taking into it. That's great. But the conversation that was going around my office was clearly this is not what's going to happen. But if it was, do you think that Kevin Feige is in the office like, all right, so we got to recut the whole fucking movie, right? Like, there's no way we can move forward with this. We thought it was going to be a big surprise ending, and everybody guessed it. I don't know how they guessed it. Did somebody leak it? I don't really understand. Who would have thought? I can't.
or they just make it as like a second ending. Like
Look for the other one. Go for the other one.
like Feige just walks out in front of white screens. It's like, all right, you motherfuckers, Feige here. just letting you know, I had shot an entire different ending for this, and then you all had to fucking ruin it. So now you have to watch it. We already reshot it. You saw it. You enjoyed it. You love it.
Now
You-
watch
'cause
the
you love
original
everything
ending.
that I did. Now watch Ant-Man crawl up Thanos' butt and get bigger again.
Now you thought it'd be funny. Guess what? It's horrible. It's horrible, and you can never unsee
It's
it.
not as much fun as you think it will be.
So let's watch it. By the way, he would
Roll
have
that clip.
he would have to walk out there and be like, "Hey, everybody, Feige here," because nobody knows what Kevin Feige looks like. They'd be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Who is this guy?
Oh, Feige. I think actually he'd probably say Feige here. You know, the head of This is all my shit. I organized all of this. I'm in charge of the Marvel.
I'm the Mike Krzyzewski of Marvel.
Coach K. Who?
I'm the coach-
Mike Krzyzewski?
Oh, yeah.
How does that make sense at all? I was explaining that to some people who don't watch. So, two screens in my office. One of them was playing Ultra Music Festival. The other one was playing NCAA basketball. And I'm like, if that doesn't explain this office dynamics. And somebody was saying Mike Krzyzewski. And I was like, Coach K. And they were like, what? I was like, Coach K from Duke. Duke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Duke. And they were like, okay, Coach K. And I was like, yeah, Mike Krzyzewski. Don't understand. Is it Mike? Oh, yeah. Now I'm confusing myself. Mike Krzyzewski is the one that starts with a K.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking really Polish name, and it starts with a K. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah. So the Duke game's not playing, so I can't show you. But like, just look up Coach K, and you'll see. And they're like looking around, like,
It's like KSYCH.
what the fuck kind of name is this? And I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
By the way, a friend of mine from college, person you know from college, changed his last name because he's going into politics. Surprising.
Oh, yeah, I saw that in Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy looks so familiar. And
Yeah.
I go watch the video and I'm like,
I feel like it's been different for a while, though.
I think it has, and I just didn't know who
You
it
didn't
was.
notice it? Yeah.
No, because the name changed, and then I was like, oh, I know. I have so many random people.
We'll
that I
have
don't know
to
who
we'll have
this
to
is.
talk more about this off air.
Yes.
Anyway. Yeah. Well, I think we've done good here.
Wait, nope. We skipped the other part.
Wait, let's go back. Rewind.
Yep. Yep. All right, 80-20, where I walk.
Roberto! We went too far. Go back forward. Well, you know where you can find other things that crawl up your butt and get bigger?
Where's that?
OTheAnthem.com, Corey to OTheAnthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find...
Wait, hang on. I got to get to you. There you go. All right.
Continue laughing now. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/Corey Baker Film, at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. And the movie reviews are now available on every single podcatcher available, just like this podcast. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, the whole nine.
Anchor.
Enjoy it. Anchor. Enjoy it. The last one was Us, and I might go see The Beach Bomb. Thinking about seeing The Beach Bomb.
Okay.
But
you can enjoy that.
I will see some movie at some point and make another review, and you will enjoy that as well. Rob?
Hey, everybody. Rob here. You can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, as you can read right here. You can check out more of my stuff at robertncheek.com, or you can find links to Political Blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rod's books.
As we were talking about just before the mics got hot, I'm making significant progress on both a screenplay and a brand new novel. What I forgot to do in the time that I was making that progress was to complete the blurb on the back cover.
The 2 sentences that you had to write on the book that's still unfinished.
I literally, I had been writing for 3 or 4 hours, and
It's like a real life tortoise in the hare.
Honestly.
Except that you got to the finish line and you're just like, hold on, I'm going to do these other 3 races first before I finish this one.
Literally, so I wrote 4 or 5 chapters of the book, and I'm like, oh, so much progress. But I got this idea in my head about the screenplay, so I'm going to keep working on the screenplay. And Roxy got home. She's like, should I go to bed? And I'm like, no, just sit here. I'm almost done. And I banged it on. I was like, okay, it's bedtime. Great. Oh, what a night. I worked on so much stuff. And she was like, what about the thing that you were supposed to do? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't do that. I got so much done, but I didn't do that. So we're going to finish that this week.
By the way, as to not be remiss, RTO AZN for Roberto Arizon, Twitter,
yes.
Instagram. Wait, it's RTO.AZN, right?
RTOAZN.
Yeah.
And he's being much more active on Instagram, especially.
Yeah.
So definitely worth a follow.
Yeah, I
A lot of
yelled at him
interesting stuff.
good about it, so he learned his lesson.
Yeah, hopefully it's been good. So anyway,
All right. Well, I think we've done good here today.
now it's appropriate. We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Also, Healthy Holly. What the fuck is even that property about? Like, it's such dumb. You see the dumb illustrations in that book too.
Oh, you mean the ones that she stole from the guy? She didn't pay him for?
Yeah.
Not only are you going to rob the city, or you're going to take money from the state, but you don't give the guy who drew it any money?
I like that he was just like, we sold some books.